Hi. Are you aware that you're listening to the BlahCade podcast, hosted by myself, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap?
And me, Jared Morgan.
That's right. Today we're going to be doing random acts of pinball. I have no idea what that actually means, but that's what we're doing.
Normal. Sounds about normal. Yeah. Yeah.
How are you, Jared?
I'm good. How are you going, Chris?
I'm not too shabby at all. So I discovered that somebody who has an even more niche hobby, well, actually, it's probably larger than ours, but it certainly as hell seems niche to me. Ham radio operators.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty it's even smaller subset than pinball machine lovers.
I don't know if it is a smaller subset or not. I think they're better funded.
Yeah. It's certainly a popular hobby. Like, there's a lot of very passionate enthusiasts out there for ham radio.
Yeah. So, I started talking to this guy about it, just more from the aspect of, us being podcasters and wondering what it is that a ham radio operator even does, other than has a giant tower in his backyard with an antenna, or a customized license plate that it says what his handle is. And so I was like, are you able to broadcast music, or do people do shows? And he looked at me with this strange look on his face, like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, I'm not a moron, I swear. And he was like, no, it's illegal to broadcast music, and nobody has a show. He says people will talk with each other, but he goes, and then I could tell that he didn't look too fondly upon those people. He's like, they just like to yak. Like, I'm not much of a yacker. And,
so what do you do with your radio then?
That's what I was wondering, right? Because they spend thousands of dollars on this gear and equipment, and he had been doing it for 25 plus years, or maybe 30 or whatever. And he starts telling me, "Oh yeah, you got to take a test, and to get your license, and then after so many years, you can go from a 6-letter call sign down to a 4-letter call sign. But in order to get that, there's only so many of those that are even in existence. So basically, you have to wait for somebody to die before you can even get one of those. And there's this, and so there's so many years that you have to be able to have been a ham radio operator, and then you have to go take this test." And I was like, "What kind of test is it?" And it's technical jargon beyond belief. You got to. It's all about how many ohms are passing through cables, and what kind of antennas you got to set up, and what's your radius and distance.
Wow.
It's like he said he spent a month studying hardcore for this test, because it only pops up like once a year for in anyone's area or something like that. Yeah, and
because it's such a niche hobby.
Right.
Like, they won't be doing these every month.
And so I said, I was like, well, then what do you do? He's like, well, then you make contact with other radio operators. Said,
but you're not allowed. You don't want to yak, because yakking.
Right. So I said, okay, and then what? And he goes, well, then it's you fill out a log, and that person sends you a card, and that verifies that you made contact with them.
Okay.
Hooray!
And then you talk about how big your tower is, and
no, then then you're done. Then that's it. That's the extent of it. And I thought there's got to be more to this hobby than that, right? Well, there is. But it reminds me a lot of people that do geocaching.
Walking around and finding the little capsules with stuff in it. Yeah, that seems like a fun hobby.
So it turns out that every place on the Earth has a designated signal, you might say, or a designated location. And what people do is they go to these. They want it, the more remote, the better, in their opinion. Basically, they go to these remote locations and set up an operating site, and then people contact them, and that's when they send out their little cards or whatever, and then they'll close up shop and leave, right? Because it's some desolate island that nobody inhabits, and in order to even get onto these islands, you've got to file all your government filings, and then you got to you only have X amount of time that you can be there, and so basically you're mounting an expedition, and you've got to secure all your transport, you've got to secure all your power, you've got to secure your temporary housing, all this stuff. You got to ship it to the location, build it, set it up, start firing out your signal, have people contact you, and then break it all back down, put it all on the boat, and drive away. So it's it's kind of like an adventures thing, more or less.
Yeah.
And like I said, the more remote the location, the more people get excited about it, apparently. and it becomes, as a site operator, the challenge is to filter out the mass amounts of people that are trying to contact you. Because you have to have a clean contact with every single person. And so then it becomes a matter of how many contacts can you do in X amount of period of time. So you got those people that want to do the expeditions, and then you got the other people that are trying to make the contact. And so the thrill for them is to make these new contacts and see if they can dial it in, essentially. And then he said there's an even third subset, and those people are people that just like jamming other people's signals.
Right.
Which I thought was pretty funny that every hobby has those people.
That is really, really strange. So it's almost like, you know how we say Pixar didn't happen here. For the ham radio community, it's cards or it didn't happen.
Right. Pretty much. That's pretty much. So it was one of those things where it's like, a lot of times when I tell people that I'm into pinball, they just kind of give me this look and they're like, oh, well, that's interesting. I haven't thought about pinball in years, but the ham radio operator, you see them all the time. You see people with the towers in their backyards and stuff. I just never understood what exactly it was they did. And I kind of thought, oh, I bet podcasting is, or the internet has killed a lot of this. And it's like, nope, not in the least. This is an analog-ish subset.
I actually found out, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article as I do, and I thought that ham might actually stand for something like an acronym or initialism, but it's not. The term ham radio was first a pejorative that mocked amateur radio operators with a 19th century term for being bad at something, like ham-fisted or ham actor. It had already been used for bad wired telegraph operators, so a ham telegraph operator was a crappy one. So the community said, hey, that's pretty funny, let's just use that. And they just ran with it. So there have been other explanations for the name, but really that is the canonical reason, because it was just, some ham operator, ham radio operator.
As the old TV logo used to say, the more you know. Doo, 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 doo. I know that's completely lost on you, Jared, but anybody here in America knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, enough of that. Let's
That's all
talk
very
about
interesting.
some of this.
So this, I should probably look at the screen.
I don't know. I'm not holding anything up.
I'm just. Oh, okay. So I wasn't missing a thing. That's all right. That's good.
So last week we talked a little bit about Doctor Who. We also talked a little bit about the Zen tables. I got to take a look at Doctor Who in DX11. I read through all the instructions, and I can formulate a few more opinions now. I will say this. None of what I'm about to say is in any way Farsight's fault.
No.
Just kind of observations about the table, and it was kind of surprising to me considering the era of the table, but there's not really modes, are there? There's more like combos that you're setting off in order to score the mode, you might say, in order to collect a doctor. And it's hitting combos before the timer runs back out on them.
Yeah, that's right. To boost your score, basically. That's how you get massive scores in this game. You shoot the hang-on ramp, build it up until you basically have maximum multiplier, then start multi-ball and start shooting Daleks, and keep on topping up the ramp as you're in multi-ball to get things like Supreme Daleks and Emperor Daleks and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of bizarre, interesting. I'm not sure how I like that yet, because again, I haven't put in hardly any time on it. Just too busy with work.
It's hard to keep that ramp going in multi-ball. Like you've got to make a concerted decision to go, right, I'm going to trap some balls. I'm going to try and shoot hang-on all the time. So you've got to trap a ball long enough that you can shoot it up the hang-on passage, so you can then shoot the hang-on ramp, and then keep that ball going while you've got another ball trapped. So it's a really big juggling act to try and get it right.
Which that's my other comment. Trapping balls, my God.
Lightning flippers suck, man. That's all I could say.
I've discovered that balls that normally would have done a dead pass on were just going straight down the drain, just because they're not hitting on, I guess, where they're hitting on the flipper bat with it being slightly shorter or something. I don't know. Because it's such a shallow throw on the flip itself, catching a ball is really
hard.
Yeah, you got to really be concentrating. It's not just, oh, I'll just hold my flipper while another ball's bouncing around and probably one will catch.
It's certainly no, it's certainly not the crazy Gottlieb guaranteed catch flippers, which would trap a ball going at 800 miles an hour.
Yeah, so if you want to make your head spin, go from playing
Cue Ball Wizard
to playing that. You're right. And just be like,
yeah. Yeah, it's a mind frack for sure.
The other thing is, what the heck is up with the audio? I can't understand a word that is being said. I mean, everything to me sounds like, what? What was that? And God forbid if a Dalek actually talks, because then
it's very
not Farsight's fault, but
no.
Spectacular audio capture.
Yeah, very, very well. There's a lot of speech in it. You see, like there's quite a bit of speech stuff in it, so they probably had to compress everything down quite a lot to fit it on the ROMs.
I guess all of it coming from an AM transistor radio that's barely got the station in tune.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. It sounds better with headphones on. I think
I had headphones in.
Oh,
and it still was just, I mean, I can kind of make out what the doctors are saying, but the Daleks, it's just like, good night, whatever. I have no clue what they're saying. So
I can understand.
And especially coming off of playing the Zen tables, where it's
a pretty nice audio.
Yeah, I mean, it's pristine audio. So I'm very curious to see when Farsight comes with Doctor Who Regenerated this coming month.
What they've done with that.
Yeah. Well, because they've got their own audio.
That's right.
I'm trusting that it's going to sound miles better. And if that's the case, if it is a case that the layout is the same, if the layout is the same and the gameplay is more or less the same, I mean, how can it not be? There might be some slight different scoring methods or whatever, but I very well might wind up just playing the regenerated version just for the audio alone.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, it's still going to be mono because the sound won't be stereo. Because
I'm not concerned about the mono. I'm just concerned about the clarity,
the bit rate, and the fact that it's actually audio recorded from a voice that's not then tried to be downsampled to the point where they can fit it on a ROM and then played back.
Right,
and then it's like the worst type of way to record audio, but not much you can do when you're trying to emulate old tables.
Not much. Yeah.
I'm just going to be interested with the sound package in general. I will reserve my judgment until I hear it. I hope there's a lot of like orchestral music like you get in the shows, rather than
certainly not the old Doctor Who. Hello,
Dr. Hugh, Dr. Color. It's the color doctor.
Haven't had one of those yet.
No, strangely enough.
No, well, there went my train of thought. Anyway,
no. You're welcome. Yeah.
So, how about springtime? I did want to mention, I was doing my part. I was wearing my BlahCade t-shirt on our film set, and one of the kids came up to me and was like, what's BlahCade? Or, I know what he was doing. Well, so I was wearing the t-shirt. He kind of asked BlahCade, and I said, it's a podcast. And then he grabs this kid's 11. He grabs our boom operator. He grabs his boom pole and then puts the mic in front of me. And he's like, what do you guys talk about? And so I said, well, here, I'll do the opening and let you hear what it sounds like. And so I, in my deep timbre, I did the immediate, you were listening to the BlahCade podcast, and I rattled through that and impressed the socks off him, which I was like, really? My opening impressed somebody? Oh, yeah, you're 11. But so anyway, so then he goes, well, what do you guys talk about? I said, pinball. But then what do you talk about? And I went, well, I go, do you know about the pinball app? Oh, yeah, I know about that. I go, okay, well, we talk about that and tables that are coming out and how to play. But then what?
and then?
Yeah. And then? No, and then. So yeah, I thought that was kind of amusing. You have gotten now a chance to mess around with the new Zen tables. Thoughts?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. I've been playing both of them. I've decided to give both a try. Down here in Australia, it's with the current exchange rate, it's about $6.50 for the pack. Australian pesos, $6.50 Australian pesos. So that's fun. Although apparently, when I said the cost of power in Australian dollars, when I tweeted it out to Zen, and a couple of other people were going, "Oh, that's funny," because in the EU, it's actually a little bit more expensive than converted than it is in Australia. So there you go. We're getting a little bit of a cut down here. They're feeling sorry for us. I've played Women of Power and A-Force. I gave both of them a go. I think A-Force is probably my preferred table.
Well, Women of Power is the pack, Jared. So it's A-Force and Champions.
Champions. Yes. Yeah, that's right. So Champions, yeah, it's okay. It is very. I see what you mean about the Scooby-Doo running noises and all the all the Hanna-Barbera sounds.
Right.
It's like they've just gone to Hanna-Barbera's.
Exit stage left.
I was expecting it. I really was. So yeah, Champions. It's a very bizarre table. You could tell it's a Zoltan table.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, dude, there's some bizarre shot transitions in that. Like you shoot it up one passage and it just loops around and comes out this fake wall and then back to the upper floor. It's like, what the?
Like I said, habit trail hell.
And the thing that really catches me every single time on that table is the speed that the ball exits from the return lane wires, habit rails. Jeez, it flies off those things. It's like they don't actually have ends on them. And the ball just goes straight off them without having to hit on anything before it drops down to the table. It's ridiculous speed. It's ludicrous speed.
That should be in Tesla table now, since
it should be.
Teslas have ludicrous speed buttons on them now. Did you feel that? No, I know that you have also commented that A-Force, because you commented on your Twitter that it was very bouncy, like I already said. But did you find that with Champions that it was bouncier than at least normal for Zoltan?
Absolutely, it's great. Yeah. Like the amount of bounce that's in that table now, and just the sort of slightly higher strength of pop bumpers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's good. He's finally taking some cues from the other designers.
Yeah,
about what actually works in the market today. And I think that's really good because both of those tables as a pack, they don't feel like they're done by, they don't feel radically different as far as the underlying physics go. Whereas, you look at a lot of the other tables in Marvel and they're all over the place as far as physics go.
Right.
So, yeah, I think Aliens was also pretty consistent as well. They got the same type of tuning in that. But then you go look at Star Wars tables, and they differ between sort of the release eras that they came out in. So
right, well, I mean, yeah, because all the movie tables are they're all designed by the same guy, so they all feel exactly the same. But you're right, yeah, you play Masters of Force and then hop into Return of the Jedi, and it's like whiplash on your head.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's really, really hard to switch. So yeah, it's good to have that consistency in the table pack, I think. What was I going to say? It was about mode starting. I think I kind of like the different ways you can start the modes in A-Force. There's a couple of different paths you can do to start the modes, I found. That's nice. So you don't have to do the same shot over and over again to get the mode started.
Yeah, I think they've figured out a good variety. It's interesting that Zen has figured out take a lot of cues and lessons from mainly Bally and Williams tables, I would say, and probably modern day Stearns, even to a larger extent. I can see a lot of influence of modern day Stearns in their tables recently. As opposed to if they were taking their cues off of a Gottlieb or Data East, where it's one-shot tables, and that's about it.
That's right. Yeah, I'm quite enjoying that. I'm still. I've worked out how to start the modes in the Champions, but like it was going, what is that ring going backwards and forwards? What am I supposed to do with that? I guess I'll shoot it. And then, oh, look, I'm in a warp mode. This is how you actually start a mode, it seems. Or it's all very confusing.
Like I said, it's a Quidditch hoop.
It is. It's a Quidditch hoop. Totally is.
I mean, yeah, if they were going to do a Harry Potter table, boom, there you go. That's exactly what I would have expected.
Yep, they can totally reuse that for the Harry Potter table. I don't know why they're not, honestly, seriously. That would just be a gimme license, that one, as far as being able to do stuff in pinball.
Maybe we should suggest that, get a hold of Barbie and say, hey, why don't you spread the news? There is a new movie coming out, and why don't you guys get on that, and then you can redo the old movies.
Yeah, exactly. One table for each movie. I mean, that would not be that hard to do. They would have heaps of material for,
my God,
for each table.
Yeah, they would. That'd be a really good license for them to secure, get into business with Warner Brothers, since Farsight can't seem to get in business with Warner Brothers.
They can't get a beer in a pub. As far as Warner Brothers go,
Warner Brothers was rather expensive compared to the other studios, which is a shame because there's quite a few Warner Brothers properties in the pinball world, and that kind of affected, we believe. So it's been, well, I'm not going to say announced, but the clue was given as to what the Halloween table is going to be, and it was met with wild disappointment because it was not either Nightmare on Elm or Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street or Tales from the Crypt.
So for those people who didn't see the clue, it was a
trombone,
trumpet, a trombone, and a cocktail.
No, and then Buster Poindexter.
Oh, that's who it was. Oh, I had no idea who that person was. So I was going.
Don't remember feeling hot.
Oh, right. Okay.
Anyway, so if you take the bone from trombone and the Buster from Buster Poindexter, you get Bone Busters. Yay. Gottlieb Premier. Yay. Now I've never played Bone Busters, so
nor have I.
But I can say this. It's a Gottlieb Premier.
It's a Gottlieb Premier, yeah.
It's already swirling the drain, in my opinion.
It is. Oh boy.
And then the amount of bile that was thrown at it in our forum from people that have played it, saying that it's one of the more terrible Gottlieb Premiers, is kind of...
It can't be much more terrible than that stupid Class of 1812. That's a game that it's second in line from going nuts, that one for me. Yeah. It's just so kitschy and horrible. And the kitty wrapped rubbish in it that is in there, it's just terrible.
Well, I equate that to, it's what happens when, well, I guess they weren't old in that era, but when middle-aged men that were white decided that, the kids are into rap. Let's make a rap.
Let's make these spooks rap words, and it's going to be so hip and cool, Daddy O.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I looked up some videos of Bone Busters just to see what we're in for, and immediately was turned off by the color of it. And then I heard some of the audio, and I just kind of went, "Oh God, freaking Gottlieb Premier tables."
I want to see the travesty that we're going to be getting.
And I'm going to say this: would I have rather had the Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street table? No, honestly, because I've played that, and I don't think that would be getting hardly any play for me either. It didn't interest me. I am with everybody being bummed that it's not Tales from the Crypt, because I think that would have been a good title.
Man. That would have been such a good title to have.
Yeah. But you know what, folks? This is what you get when you insist on Farsight always releasing a holiday, or not a holiday, but a Halloween-themed table. Because there's not that many Halloween-themed tables left. And
geez, it really is. It does look like another Class of 1812. I'm looking at the playfield on it. I'm just going, oh, God.
Yep. And it's one of those where I looked at pictures from what people have done in visual pinball compared to the people that are actually playing the table and moving the camera. And it's one of those where the toys in the back area of the table don't seem to translate that well to a static image.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's very busy up the back there. Jeez,
it is. It's very busy, and that has me worried too. Although, again, hats off to Farsight. You did a pretty dang good job on Doctor Who with the time expander.
That does look well defined. There's some sort of. I'm just looking at the playfield. The thing that jumped out at me when I first had a look at it is that on the upper left flipper, there's like a pop bumper, and the pop bumper is like half a pop bumper. Like the skirt underneath that triggers the pop bumper, it's like a special skirt. It's only half of it.
That area on the on the left. No, I was thinking the area on the right. I don't know what this on the left. I didn't take that long of a look.
Yeah, it's on the left. It's very bizarre.
Basically, I'll put it to you this way, folks. You paid for Bone Busters, you're going to be playing Doctor Who Regenerated.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a 2-pack. It's going to be a 2-pack.
Oh, you reckon?
Well, they already said that Doctor Who Regenerated is coming out next month.
Yeah, so that'll be a separate purchase, surely. Like you can choose.
Should have been a free purchase with Doctor Who. They never said they were going to make it a separate purchase.
Oh, okay.
The Kickstarter always was both tables. So I don't think it'll be a purchase at all. I think instead it's just going to be, hey, I think they intended all along to have it come out with Doctor Who, and I just don't think they had it prepared in time.
Oh, okay.
Is what if I had to guess properly, that's what I would guess.
Okay. Well, I guess I've never played it before. I should reserve my judgment about what it's going to play. It looks like it almost looks like it has up the back there, which has some sort of jumpy, rampy thing.
It's got a jumpy ramp into a chair, and what it's got is a domed piece of metal that basically, so if the ball was jumping up, the metal acts as a roof to guide the ball then into the slot that it's going into.
Okay.
So it's like a reverse loop, if you will.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, you only get that if you see the table from a side angle.
Yeah, okay.
It's also got these metal rods coming out from the chair. They're calling it. I guess it's supposed to be an electric chair. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to tell what that is supposed to be. But one video I watched was crap. Was it TNT Amusement or something like that? They do restorations.
Yeah.
They did a custom Bone Busters, and he was showing all the things that they added and where they had added lights. And if you watch where they added lights compared to somebody that doesn't have those in, this is a dark table.
Dark table, yeah.
The whole lower left side of the table, from the halfway down, it's dark. There's next to no lights. There's no lights underneath the slingshots.
Yeah, there's not, eh? There's nothing at all. It's really weird.
And so these are things that the TNT guys then wound up putting in. And I was like, well, that's awesome what you guys did. Too bad we're not going to get to see any of that.
We're never going to see this. No. This is going to be, very, very bad. Oh, well. Let's wait and see, I guess.
So for those of you not playing at home, Sven is here in our comment section and throwing all sorts of information at us. I'll just give you the highlights of what he's been saying. He says that Doctor Who Regenerated is not just a reskin, but it's also a revamp. He says that that he thinks Doctor Who is 2 separate purchases. So because it was 2 different Kickstarter tiers, who knows? Yes. I guess we'll all find out.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we will. And it'll be next month, apparently, which will be interesting. So, we'll wait and see. I'm just looking at this Bone Busters. It's a lot of 80s pink in there.
Oh, that's the other thing the TNT guys did. They removed all the pink.
Oh yes, that's a very good decision because boy, it's ugly.
Yeah,
it is ugly, ugly.
So don't do what I did. Don't look up that video on YouTube and then go, "Oh, that's not too bad," because that ain't what we're getting.
No, it's going to be interesting.
So that's about all the pinball talk we have for you folks. So if that's all you came for, go away. But if you came for what our motto is, which is pinball, movies, snacks, and mostly pinball, we're not going to go into the movies route. We're going to talk snacks.
Yeah, snacks. Yeah, because there's things
happening in a long time.
There's things happening down here in Australia. We are becoming more and more like our sister country, America.
Oh, we're sister country, are we?
We may as well be. So we are getting.
Are you guys removing the Union Jack from your flag and putting a little stars and stripes?
Now, what we're doing is we're going to put a big picture of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton mashed together as one.
You poor bastards.
So we've got a Carl's Jr. Opening. Apparently, there is one already open up at Brisbane Airport.
Okay.
So it's not where they're stopping though. They're actually going to be. Whoa! Don't know if you can hear that, but that was loud. Thanks, Carl's Jr. for opening up a video as soon as I open your website. Good work there. Yes, we have a Carl's Jr. at Brisbane Airport, but there are plans to branch out even further than that. So there's one
I'm going to express this because you probably don't know this, Jared. Here in America, Carl's Jr. is a western half of the United States franchise. They are not completely national. They went ahead and bought out on the other side of the country a franchise called Hardee's. But they kept the Hardee's name on the East Coast. They kept Carl's Jr. here on the western half of the states. But they serve the same food, but they name the food differently for each location, strangely enough. So this is a fast food burger joint. And Carl's is the anti-McDonald's, anti-Burger King, and that they like to sell all of their burgers with a lot of sex.
Yeah, they do. I've seen the ads for them, and it's all about the sex with them, and all about the thick burgers as well. Apparently,
the thick burgers,
thick patties.
Yep. For a while there, Jared, they had a campaign going on here called "If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face." And they purposely overloaded the burgers with condiments so that when you bit into them, it just squirted out of the side of the burger. That didn't last too long because people were like, when I'm driving, the last thing I need is a whole glob of ketchup, mustard, and pickles dropping in my lap.
Well, number one, you should be eating the bloody burger when you're driving, you freaking
dirtbag. Who said? Come on. Burger in one hand, soda in the other, knee driving with the wheel.
You could eat your fries. You can eat your fries, no problem at all, with while you're driving. I mean, we do that all the time here. But a burger, I don't know. It's something that you want to actually pay attention to, and give it the attention that it deserves. Because these burgers do look good. So
Carl's is actually my preferred burger joint for cheap burgers.
For cheap burgers, because you can guarantee they won't be cheap here. They'll be very expensive here.
Well, no. Well, okay, the thick burgers are a little more expensive, but for their basic burger, I find it to be way more tasty than a McDonald's burger, and I like it better than a Burger King burger. If I want to go that step up, then that's when I go to an In-N-Out. But
that's right.
For the grab it in 5 minutes as opposed to sitting in line at In-N-Out for a half an hour.
Yeah, that is true. You do that if you go there at peak times. It's crazy.
Now, unfortunately, Carl's has natural cut fries. So little bits of skin on the fry itself.
But
they used to have the crinkle cut fries, and I'm a huge fan of the crinkle cut fries.
They got crisp cut fries.
They do have crisp cut fries.
It looks good.
So fortunately for me, though, right next door to our Carl's Jr. is a Del Taco, which you have no clue about that either, Jared.
No.
But Del Taco has crinkle cut fries, so I'll go through one drive-through for the burger, and then I pull right into the next drive-through, and I get my fries, and then I'm all happy and go home.
That's lovely. I love that you can just go, I don't even need to leave my car. I'll just go.
Absolutely not. Yeah, right through.
Because it is America. You don't need to get out your car to do anything.
Do you not have drive-throughs?
We have drive-throughs, yeah, but they're not usually that tightly located. We actually do have this place down in North Lakes that you can go to KFC, you can go and get your chicken, and then you can go directly out of that one. Yeah, the Dirty Bird, and you can drive out of there, and you can go into this Beefy's Pies place where you can get a pie, and then you can drive out of there and go drive through a Gloria Jean's coffee and get a coffee to take out as well, all from the comfort of your car.
Is Beefy's a meat pie or is it a dessert?
I think they've got beef, like meat and sweet and savory pies. So you can get whatever you like, and sausage rolls and all the good things.
Okay.
So you could go to town. You could go and get yourself a bucket chicken, a pie, and a skim coffee, because you want to be watching your weight.
Yeah, you got to watch your weight.
That's right. So this will be really interesting.
A bucket of chicken, a whole bunch of pastry pies. Get the diet drink.
You get the diet drink. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you don't need all that sugar. That's not
you. No, you don't need that much sugar. Where's my Slurpee?
Oh, you know what? We've got Slurpee news as well. So for ages here, McDonald's were undercutting 7-Eleven terribly on their frozen beverages. So you could get a large frozen Coke here for $1. And it's like for the same size cup at 7-Eleven, it was $3.
Okay.
So obviously 7-Eleven usually aren't in the same places as McDonald's are. So that was fairly okay. But now they're launching this big ad campaign where you can go and get $1 Slurpees. So they're upping their game. It's going to be a loss leader for them because you'll be able to go there and get, most of the 7-Elevens here are actually attached to a fuel station.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they're basically like you drive and get your fuel, go in and pay, because they don't ever have pay at the pumps over here.
Oh.
Because we have that in a number of locations over here. You can actually just go and put your credit card through the machine, and you don't even need to step forward into the shop.
Nope.
Which is great. Good for when you're riding a motorcycle, because you don't need to take off your helmet and all that. You just basically get your fuel and go. But it's bad because they don't get to upsell you, of course. So, but with 7-Eleven, you have to go into the store. So, for an extra $1, getting a large Slurpee, it's a pretty hard sell.
I know that you guys got the Costco there in Australia.
Yes, we do.
Do you have the Costco gas?
Yes, we do. That's where I get my fuel from, my gasoline. Okay. It is actually called Costco gasoline here too. It's not called Costco petrol or Costco fuel.
Oh, it's gasoline.
It's Costco gasoline. Yeah, nice. It is. They've kept the branding, and people go, well, it's not gasoline. We're in Australia. It's like, well, dude, it's an American company. So build a bridge and get over it. And shut up and just enjoy the cheap fuel. Because
exactly, and the beauty is that you never get to. Well, at least for us, it's totally pay at the pump. There is no quick sale there. There's no person to talk to. The only disappointing part that I find about the Costco gas experience is that they do not have the wiper or the window cleaner there by the side.
They don't even have an air pump. They don't even have an air pump or anything. It's just fuel and bugger off.
Yeah. And since that's the only place I go for my fuel, it gets disappointing when I'm all of a sudden like, oh man, I can't see out my window. And then I got to pull into a gas station and park, and I wipe my windows, and then I drive off, and you can see the angry look of the attendant going, hey! You didn't buy anything.
He's like, no, I didn't. I'm just using your water and using your air.
Your water and your squeegee. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we do the same. I actually ended up buying a pump for my scooter because I went to this one of the 7-Eleven servos here, and we call them servos here in Australia because we like to put an O on the end of everything instead of service stations, because really they're not service stations anymore. No one comes out and actually puts the fuel in your car for you anymore. So they're servos. So I go to the servo and try and use the air pump. And it's one of these ones that's digital. So you tap in the number you want, then it fills it up to that PSI.
Oh, nice.
But the thing is, it was malfunctioning. So instead of blowing up the tires, it took the air out of the tires and didn't give it back to me. And I went, well, you suck. So I ended up going down to the shops and buying a bike pump, which allows me to, like one of those really high capacity bike pumps.
Okay.
And it allows me to pump up the tires as much as I want, when I want, and doesn't require any power. So it was a very good $40 investment.
How much of a culture shock would it be for you to drive into a gas station and have somebody come out, ask what kind of fuel you want, fill it up for you, check your tire pressure, pop the hood, check your oil level? That would make my head spin today, I think.
Yeah, there are only a couple of service stations here in Brisbane that do actually offer that service still. There's like one or two that are like family run, and they actually pride themselves in service. And they will actually come and, fill up your car for you, and you just stay in the car, and, they will do it all for you. But I don't know how you actually pay. They must have like a portable FPOS machine now. But in the past, of course, you just give them $20 and they go and get you change and you drive off.
When I was a kid, you had the gas station only credit card, right?
Oh,
it was specific to the gas station. There was no magnetic strips on the back of your cards. It just had the numbers, raised numbers. I mean, that was how all the credit cards were back when I was a youngin'. And then they had the little device that, you put the card in, you put the piece of paper over the top of it, and you went, and
yes.
You went across and made the carbon imprint, right?
Yes. It was actually a charge card. It was a charge card.
Yes. How I wanted to be a gas station attendant when I was little, just so I could operate that machine.
Yeah, that thing. I remember those. Yeah,
and then of course there was a time when the guy went to do it and the paper slightly wrinkled in it and just shredded the paper. I'm like, and get all mad and have to start a new one. Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah, because they had to write up the bill first, and then they had to swap the card. So they basically gave you the piece of paper, say, "Is that correct?" And then,
and then they had this. Well, ours had this giant cash register, if you will. But it wasn't really a cash register, but it had all these buttons on it. And they punched in the various buttons, and basically what that was doing was rotating the tumblers to stamp onto, through the carbon.
It was basically a typewriter for the carbon sheet.
Essentially. And that's what printed out the form that then they ran your charge card over the top of.
Right. And then they give you that as your receipt.
You kiddies don't understand what it was like growing up when we did not have the internet and we did not have cell phones in our pockets.
Yep. Get off my lawn. So, yes, I don't know. I think they are planning, they're getting back to Carl's Jr., of course. They are going to
are we circling around? Oh, okay.
just to dovetail it. So, at the moment, there's a one down the Gold Coast, or Bateau Bay. Actually, that's like right down New South Wales. And the other one is at Brisbane Airport. So, I could actually go for a drive out to Brisbane Airport and try one of these burgers.
Well, enjoy yourself a Western bacon, if I can recommend anything from Carl's.
Western. Let's have a look. So this is a thick burger or just a charcoal?
Regular, but you can get it as a thick burger too if you'd like.
Oh, a double Western bacon cheeseburger. Let's take a look at that. Oh, look at that. So you get bacon, double cheese, and onion rings.
Yep.
On a sesame seed bun. Ooh,
with the barbecue sauce.
With the barbecue sauce, yeah. That looks pretty good. Oh, that looks pretty tasty. And I could actually go and park in the car park there. They have 20 minutes for free at the airport, so I could park, run in, get the burger, and then get back on the bike and run back out again and not have to pay.
Only in Australia would you actually run to the airport to grab a bite to eat.
and then go away. I know, it's crazy. That's the only place you can get a Carl's. So, for the time being.
For the time being, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy things, because we're going to be finishing this up, but I just wanted to leave everybody with this wonderful thought of how Australia is constantly trying to kill its citizens. So I read, or I did read, we heard of story here of some construction worker.
That made it over to you, did it?
Yes, it did make it over to us. Some construction worker went to the bathroom in a porta-john and went to the sit-down variety, at which point a spider bit him on the weenus.
That's right.
And yes, that's the shriek of my wife in the background because she loathes spiders, and she also knows of how big these spiders in Australia are. He was able to capture the spider and take it with him to the hospital, at which point I forget what the type is, but it's basically, for us here in America, a cousin of the black widow.
It's called a redback spider, which, yes,
there
it is
was,
basically like the black.
there was swelling, there was pain, and it didn't fall off.
It didn't fall off.
And no, nobody had to suck out the poison.
Yeah, so that was the first time.
Yes, that was the first time. So then it turns out the guy goes back to work, doesn't use a Porta-John for the next, like 6 months.
Yeah,
finally is like, I really gotta go. Goes back, checks the seat, looks around. Nope, doesn't see any problem. Goes to do his business, bam, gets bit again. Yeah. In almost the exact same spot.
Same spider likes to taste the sausage. Yep.
So with which we were just like, what are the odds of that actually happening? The radio hosts that were telling the story, they were like, maybe he just missed the limelight and made up the story so he could get back in the limelight.
Yeah. Well, the article suggested that he didn't actually sight the spider, but he knew it was a spider bite. So it may not have actually been a redback that bit him again, but it was certainly another spider that got him in the same place. So, yeah.
Lesson learned, poo at your house.
Yeah. Or lesson learned, take a big can of Mortine and spray the bejeebers out of the bowl. So don't bring air freshener into a porta potty, bring Mortine.
Yeah, bring your can of Raid with you.
Fast knockdown. And then watch all the spiders go from underneath the toilet. And don't forget to flush when you see them all coming down. Oh boy, yeah.
Well, this show just took a decidedly wrong turn, and with that, we're going to end it. So,
okay.
If you would like to follow us on Twitter, why don't you do that? The show is at BlahCade. I am at Shut Your Traps. He is at Jared Morgs. Or you can go to our website, BlahCadePinball.com. Hey, if you go there, you can see every single podcast we've ever done, download them, listen to them, share them with a friend, bump up our numbers because that would be fun.
Yeah.
You could always, if you feel like flying the flag of the t-shirt like I did on set, you can go ahead and do that. Go to represent.com/BlahCade/shirt.
But BlahCade dash shirt, I think.
Shirt. Yes, I was about to say t-shirt, and then I realized it's not t-shirt, it's shirt.
Just shirt. Or take a look at the show notes, because we have links that you can click on for your convenience.
It is so much more convenient that way than actually trying to, type this stuff
Verbalize it, yeah.
So that's our show for this week. Next week,
there's a high likelihood we'll be talking about pinball.
I'm just going to leave it blank.
Maybe less sausage-loving spiders.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot less sausage-loving spiders. Oh, I did want to highlight one other thing. Last week, I had mentioned the TV show The Exorcist, that I had not watched it. I went ahead and watched it last week, and that was the surprise for me. Pretty dang good.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty, yeah. So I think that's a safe bet for viewership if you want to get up on that.
Ah, very good. I am warning people off MacGyver.
I have heard horrible things about that. So yes, I'm staying far clear away from that.
Yeah, me too. Do not want.
Alrighty. Well, that's enough blathering on our part. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you soon.
See you later.